All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. New week on the charts. Hope we're doing well, guys. Welcome to another edition of the London Session. Without further ado, it's time to get this show on the road. As always, guys, good morning, good afternoon, and very good evening, no matter where we are around the world. Let's see, once again, what we can come up with moving forward here today on another London Session. It's been, it was a good week last week. Really strong end to the month of October. Quite one for me. I didn't really trade much. I was away for a fair part of it, but nonetheless still ends up in a nice profit. Either way, guys, we're new month, so we've moved on from that, and gold obviously still hovering around that 4k level, so obviously that's going to be a pretty key level, that 4k flat. So we'll have a look at gold as per usual, guys. We'll also have a look at GJ, EU, a few of the other pairs as per your request. Guys, if you could do though in the meantime, don't forget, please, YouTube, don't forget to hit that like button for me, and TikTok, smash that little screen for me, and we can get this show on the road. And let's start with, as always, let's have a look at the news and let's see if there is anything of interest, forecast, or due to be released during our session here today. We have some high impact news for the Swiss franc, so that could impact the euro. Obviously, it could even impact perhaps the pound as well, so coming out of the euro sector there with the Swiss franc. So something to keep a bit of an eye on moving forward. That is 30 minutes prior to London Open, so in about 39 minutes from now, 38 minutes from now. So we'll have a look at that. Otherwise, pretty clean slate for our session. We do have some high impact news moving forward into NY session. That is 2 hours into the session itself. But again, we can have a look more into the news later on if we've got nothing better to do. But in the meantime, guys, let's get cracking with the analysis. And let's start with the gold. Any questions, any charts, anything you'd like me to look at, guys, feel free to pop that into the chat and I will get to you all shortly. Let's start with the gold. I'm starting on that weekly time frame. Interesting one here on the weekly. So the previous weekly obviously did not close back with a upper wick. Now, guys, had this closed above the 0.382, we could have had a similar situation as what we had on stream Thursday on the 15-minute time frame. We could have potentially been looking for some impulse buys above the high. However, we have not done that. We've closed close to the 50, but not quite below it. So what that typically suggests to me is it's still a weak bearish candle. So maybe just grab some downside liquidity. And if we were to eventually break the high of that candle, I do believe there's a high probability that throughout the week we could trend bullish, but we're obviously way off that, so it's not that big of an issue at the minute. Aside from that, we could also just be pulling back within that weekly candle, creating an upper wick, and we're going to see what sort of levels we're currently moving towards on the minor time, well, the 4-hour and the minor time frame, that being the M15. We could potentially look for some potential rejection of that level and perhaps look for a sell at what could be the highest point of the daily, potentially, maybe even the weekly, but obviously we're still very early into proceedings. Onto the daily time frame here. What we can see is the daily. So we did obviously close back bearish on the previous daily candle. So pretty much confirming that lower high after creating a lower low. Structurally, it's still bullish the way I do see it. None of that will change. We're still far off it. Still 36.30. We're way off it, to be honest. This is the last two more consecutive candle pullback in the opposite direction to the trend itself. But what we're more concerned about, seeing we are just scalping, looking for small movements, is the candle formations themselves, the most recent. So the previous candle closed bearish, current candle, it's actually got a lower low, lower high to the previous. So we have broken a low. It's just marking a low of the current daily candle. See what we got below that point. Obviously above the high, we're running into what was just resistance formed on the previous daily candle on Friday. All right, so onto the 4-hour here, and as I mentioned, looking at the weekly candle, we are pulling back to a level of liquidity here on the higher time frame. So could this be a potential zone where we could begin to reject? We are currently tapping into a resistance. If I was to drag that down, I could. I'm going to focus on the area a little bit higher up. Structurally, this is where I begin to look at the structure itself. What I can tell you is it is definitely still bearish here on the 4-hour time frame on structure. So off the back of that is a big zone. I will adjust it shortly. Off the back of that, then what we do have is the bias already being to the downside, guys, with daily counter probabilities bearish, the previous weekly closing back bearish as well. Let's see what the 15-minute may be suggesting though otherwise. So what I'm going to do is just adjust the zone to the lowest point lowest point of any bullish candle, closest bodies. I'll just use that whole area. To the upside, I kind of want to leave it deep. So as I mentioned when I was looking at weekly, that we potentially could we just be pulling back to a level on the 4-hour or 15 where we could be looking for some potential rejection sells from. We are currently, like I mentioned, we are currently tapping into a zone. So I'm just going to mark in first of all some minor levels here. I'm going to change it to blue so we can distinguish between the 4-hour and the minor levels. And what I'm going to be looking for moving forward, guys, is first of all the sell options. First option is, if we're seeing this is the most recent level of support formed within the current daily candle, within the current move to the upside, remembering the daily is forming bullish at the minute. If price was to begin to pop below the level here at 4,010 roughly, just a tad above that, then I would be looking for some potential sell options. So that would look something like this. We need to see a closure below or very close to the low, if nothing else, but I would preference the closure below. Price pulling back to tap back into that bullish candle low as it begins to reject and pull away. Target would be 4,004, the first target. Well, that would be the actual target itself, to be honest. It is a level of support formed on the move to the upside in the daily candle. So that is a potential option we could be looking at. Again, with the volume of gold at the minute, which, you know, it's been very a lot of volume around. A lot of the time it will just make the move, so we need to be patient though, because we have seen when we are patient, we wait for the right confirmation, we see what the results are, guys. We smashed it last week, hit home runs twice last week, so let's see if we have the patience to do similar today. Further options, guys, as far as the sells, if we do push back deeper into the 4-hour resistance and begin to once again reject from that particular level, so from really around that 4,024 to 30, 35, even higher up, I would be looking for, again, an opportunity to take a sell upon rejection of the 4-hour resistance. Once again, just waiting for some sort of price action catalyst to give me my signal to enter the market from that particular level. So that's the sell side options, in my opinion, guys. Would be nice also if we actually sweat the Asian range high, maybe to only pop below it. Still, irrespective of that, the entry point would still be around that 4,010 sort of level for the time being, unless we pop up a little bit higher and reject. Now for the buyers, guys, potential buy options for me, what I'd be looking at is, again, yeah, so we are, look, the 15-minute structure is bullish. We do have that on our side. By the looks of it, we have confirmed a lower low. That was the swing. We've definitely closed above the swing. 15-minute structure is bullish. Have got the daily forming bullish. So look, if we were to pull back and respect the recent support formed around that 4,000 level, the psychological round number, once again, from that point, I would also be looking for some sort of price action catalyst for a potential buy. I could look for buys from lower down, but we'll focus on the most recent levels for the time being. And that is pretty much my opinion of the gold for the time being. I'm just going to adjust this zone so it's not so huge. Makes it easier for the aesthetics of the stream. And that is currently what I'd be focused on, guys. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, we'll see, because as I did on Thursday, we can use intuition at time, guys. So obviously Thursday was just pure price action based off two candles. The candle prior, the 15-minute candle prior to session open, again, has to be at a reasonable, at a level that I have assessed as a level to be potentially looking for an option or trade. And obviously the market open candle also played its part. So we'll see, guys. We'll see if we have something similar present again for another option aside from what I've just mentioned here. That is the goal. Don't forget YouTube, smash the like button, TikTok, hit that little screen for me. And guys, let's move on to have a look at the GJ. Now, this is, once again, this is a chart I sent into the members group just before, and wow, it's broken out. So what I was looking at on GJ, I'll just remove the drawings, and we'll do a quick rundown. Actually, the weekly, similar gold, but this closed weak bearish. So if we use the fib from high to low, we can see it's closed. It's actually closed just below 0.302, but still, if you were to, from the open of the candle, seeing it left a high upper wick, it's hard to see that, but to me, it's a weak bearish candle. Onto the daily, did reject on the previous daily, but even that in itself would use the fib again, suggests to me it's a weak bearish candle. If we were to break the high of that candle, I do believe there's a high probability that we could in fact continue to the upside. Perhaps we grab some downside liquidity before heading back up. 4-hour structure itself is technically bearish, but we do have counter probabilities being to the upside. And onto the minor time frame here, the 15, and that appears to also, that's flipped. That's definitely flipped bullish now. So a little bit of a mixed bag here on GJ. I would preference a pullback to the previous level that it has just tapped into. Even maybe a little cheeky limit order buy at high of that bearish candle on the delayed interruption play. But otherwise, I've just been waiting to see how price reacts to that resistance, and if it does form support, there'd be a potential buy option on GJ. Not spending much time on these currency pairs. I don't trade them personally. I only trade the gold. GU's moved to a level of resistance. To me, it's very bearish. Looking at the previous weekly, it's closed strong bearish, close to its low. So again, could just pull back with open with a gap to the downside at the open of the today's candle. Daily, previous obviously low high low low doji. If we were to continue now bullish from this level, we'd want to be breaking above the high of that candle, in my personal opinion. 4-hour, again, it's very bearish here. I'd be looking for some rejection sells, and onto the 15, which to me is actually bullish. It's the only time frame that is bullish, so similar to that of the gold, but off the back of the strength of that previous weekly, which is very strong bearish, I would preference the sells. A bit tricky at the minute. It's just slow trickle up, perhaps wait for a little bit of a push to the upside rejection for some sell options. And last but not least, let's have a look at EU. Very similar, very strong bearish in my opinion. You got the weekly strong bearish candle, daily gap to the downside, again still very bearish. So 4-hour bearish in structure, high low high high. That's the only thing you've got to the upside, in my personal opinion. Very clean to the downside as well, guys. If EU, I think GU is very similar. If it begins to break the low of the Asian session range, pull back and retest, for me that is an optimal level to be looking for some short positions. So perhaps wait for it to pop below the Asian range, retest it, begin to pull away. Otherwise, pull back sells from some really any of these levels back above was at 115.50, 115.55. So that is my personal opinion on multiple pairs, and let's focus on the gold. Let me get to you guys. All right, starting with YouTube. How are we? Welcome team. Tony Gold, Franco, Bartman, how's the corner? Good day to all you guys. Hope you're all Sebastian. Hope you're all brother and Carl. Good to see you guys as per usual. The same faces, same names. Do appreciate all the support. And we're see what we can how this week goes. TikTok. Let me say good day to the chat. Let me have a look through the actual chat. Thank you to the new followers. Raphael, thank you for sharing the live. I did post a reel, TikTok reel and IG reel. We'll upload it to YouTube at some point of last Thursday's trade. So if you've not a look at that, it's below the pinned videos on my profile page. It's a must watch, guys. Absolutely called to perfection. Absolutely to perfection, that was. Hustle clip. Motivate, do you reckon you could explain how to look at the files and how do you determine what it say? No idea what you're talking about. I mean, the chart? I mean, I've been over my analysis, so hustle clip, motivate. Like a red file on FF would mean the market goes down, or candles. So the red, if you're talking about the candles themselves, red is down, yes, green is up, but I mean you could change it to any color you want, but bearish generally speaking is red and bullish is green. So red light, green light. Hopefully that helps. Glad you asked it, to be honest. It might seem like a really simple question, but Continue. It's not, so M, long or short, looking for sell options from the resistance. Bolts. Nice, mate. All overseas scammers for Forex, but you're talking facts right now. Thank you, mate. Well, what I do is all transparent, so if scamming people into making profits like last week is an issue, then I don't know how transparent you can be. Because last week we smashed it. Only streamed three days last week, and we had 2 very solid wins out of the 3 days, and 1 day of no trades. So here's what it is. New shop, you sound like you know what you're doing. Just follow from UK. Thank you for following. Like to think I know what I'm doing, otherwise I wouldn't be streaming, to be honest. But again, it doesn't mean you win every trade. Obviously I've taken losses. Really good stream rate though, 129 wins and 129 wins, 33 losses, and 18 break even. So win to loss ratio is 79.63%. Illumni DJ, I think it's going to push back into that fair value gap 15 and go up from there. It's going to Manipulatio, maybe, I don't know. I don't trade fair value gaps, mate. Fareed, you're in a buy for 39.66. Nice one. Samad, yes, I would agree for your comment. Kaden, what's up? All good, mate. Hope you're well. Very first 20 weeks, be careful guys. Also read follow news on Monday, or should always be careful. Should always have a plan and follow it carefully. Michael Jackson, no, not just on the 15, but predominantly speaking, it is my main confirmation time frame. It is the time frame I generally look for the catalyst to present on, obviously in line with my analysis, which includes some other time frames. And last Monday, it was the 5-minute confirmation. Still had the 15 form account I wanted to form, which at the time was bearish, but I used the 5-minute. I went down to 5 minutes to pinpoint my entry. Sid, what is the gray zone on XAUUSD? You think it will tap into that zone and go bearish? It starts at 4,024.68 to be exact, but this is based off the 4 hour, and so if you were to drag that to that point there, that's based off the 4 hour. It doesn't necessarily need to, because what I see is we're currently tapping into level of liquidity. This wick, it is a bearish candle. Within it, price could reject at any point. So doesn't mean it has to. It could pop up higher, but from experience, I would include the current level as a level, but I know it's there. So if we did begin to reject, irrespective of it, I still can't. For me, there would be no solid or clean entry until below 4,010 either way. Again, unless we pop up higher and I get some sort of confirmation from higher up. Yusuf, yes, just under an hour. Samadi CPI today? No, it's not today, mate. Unless I'm missing something. My team, let you guys in before I forget, which I often tend to do. Really good to see a lot of you are starting to pick up on the entries really clearly as well, and reacting on it, on the confirmation. Been some really good results from some of the guys of late. So yeah, keep it up, guys. CPI or Swiss franc, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. Just for the Swiss franc. Dean, you got multiple accounts. Have only just started journaling trades last week. Do you have any websites you recommend for journaling? You're one of the members, so as you can see, I do my journaling assuming it's the same Dean as the one lower down. I do my journaling on the Discord for you guys. I used to use Trello. Trello is a good one. I think it was free. I think it's still free. I'm not sure though. That was years ago, but it was really good for journaling. Otherwise, an Excel spreadsheet, drop links into it, screenshots. I did have a Excel journal, a spreadsheet. Pretty sure it's somewhere in the VIP. I'll have to see if I can fish it out. Very delicious. Good day to you. Dean, have a look at NASDAQ? No, but I can have a look for you. Alright, let me take a look at NASDAQ. So, had a bit of a pullback since obviously creating the all-time high. I was just marking the current weekly low. Seeing once again we've got no low wick. But as you heard me mention last week, guys, both gold and NASDAQ, in this case NASDAQ had no low wick. Mentioned all along, doesn't necessarily need one so long as any pullback within the candle itself was met by support or buy stepped in at previous levels and defended those levels, and there's a good chance we were never going to pull back to create a low wick. As I mentioned, you'll often hear people come into the chat saying that we have got no low wick and needs to pull back and create a low wick. Not necessarily. So we did not do that. Onto that. Actually, let's quickly measure it. Is it a weak or strong candle? Yeah, it's just above the 50, so it's strong. But anyway, let's go down the time frames, have a look at the daily. So daily, obviously we've closed two bearish or consecutive bearish candles here. Still we're likely at some levels of support on the 4 hour and 15, but it looks like we really want to be below 25.74 sort of region, lowest point of this bearish sort of doji indecision candle, suggesting exhaustion to the upside. Obviously still in a massive uptrend in regards to structure itself though. 4 hour, I would still determine this to be bullish as well. So we've tapped into the level here that I would call the last significant higher low multiple times, and we do remain above it. We do continue to close above it, so it's a significant level that we keep respecting. What I'm going to do is just adjust this zone to the downside and adjust this to most recent open of the bullish candle. That is the zone to the downside. To the upside, I'm going to mark that in. So we know we're bullish on the 4 hour, bullish on the weekly, bearish daily candles themselves, and the 15-minute structure to me is, by the looks of it, bearish. Yep. All right. So I'm going to keep that zone in. Also going to mark in a zone here to the upside. The downside, we're going to leave that. So the bias is bullish, but we got minor time frame structure being bearish. So for me, I look potential sell options on the following candle, guys. I don't trade it. I wouldn't trade this time of day. I doubt the volume this time of day. Doesn't mean it can't move, but what you've got is engulfing. You've got engulfing not only that previous candle, you're engulfing the support itself. So I would have had that marked in as a minor level. To have clean traffic to the left. Structure is technically bearish in this time frame. So off the back of that, I do see potential for price to come back down to 25.867 roughly. So there could be a potential sell option below the current support. Aside from that, again, we are still in a big strong uptrend, so I'd just be looking for pullback buys, where it be 25.67 or 25.84, 83, that sort of region, lower down to the 4 hour support. Then I'd be looking for some sort of price action catalyst and formation to give me an opportunity to get involved in a buy or sells upon the pullback yet again. Even if we break the Asian range high, only to pull back within it, make a clean move up, followed by rejection, then that to me would be a really nice opportunity to get involved in a sell to take it back down towards the Asian range low. Yeah, that is my personal opinion of NASDAQ. Gold rejecting. All right, let's see. So not going to happen on this candle. We're about to close. But once again, guys, do remember we are currently at a level of rejection. So we want to be below the support, because otherwise what we could do, I don't want to get tricked into this where you get tagged in above it pops down a little bit and ends up just popping straight back up, and then we do this and eventually come back up to tap into that resistance. So we need to be below it, in my opinion. King Bonner. Yes, there is news in the evening. Sib, my thoughts. I've been over it at the beginning. Bearish. GU is a little bit choppy to the downside though, but it's definitely a level of rejection that I would look for an opportunity to sell from. And as is EU, look at that, it's tapped into it and rejecting perfectly. You cannot make these zones up, guys. Honestly, for those who are new, make sure to watch me on the regular. The amount of times these zones are respected, and people ask me, why do I draw my zones in like so? It's because they tap into often the highest point of the bearish candles, the wick and the body, or the lowest point of the bullish candles, that being the body and the wick to the downside. You get often reactions off that level. So to me, they're both bearish, but they're just not at, I mean, they're at good levels to sell from. Traffic's not the best though to the downside. Mr. Phil, good day to you, mate. Hope you all had a good weekend, ladies and gents. I know a lot here in Melbourne would have had a long weekend. Very long weekend. Tomorrow also being a public holiday. Today technically isn't, but people take it off. Off of me. Melbourne Cup, guys. Anyone got a bet on for tomorrow? I have no idea. I could not even name one horse in a race, nor one jockey. With no interest at all. So last Monday we got on the end of a 130 plus pip move. Hit full TP not long after the stream. I actually did hold as well, guys. I know if you guys remember me saying, those who were on the stream, that I struggled to keep the runners open. I'd like to secure the profit. I did actually hold this one until the final TP. It's always a realistic level, a previous level of support / resistance that I target. And I actually let the whole thing in the end get to that point, so I was really happy with that. It was a really good return on that particular trade. And then Thursday's trade also, that was absolute cracker. Let's see what happens today. Pepper nickel 91. Where is my entry? There is no TP because there's no entry at the minute. It's just NAS. Do you think trading will get oversaturated? I wouldn't say so, but my concern about trading is that it's going to be a lot more difficult to open accounts, especially here in Oz. I'm not sure where you're from, but with the potential legal proceedings against one of the most prominent brokers here, which in my opinion has never done a thing wrong. And it's actually the broker I use, and I am more than happy with them. I think that can open a big can of worms. It's going to make it very difficult for retail traders to open accounts in general. So I think that's more the issue. Oversaturated, I mean, what's the big deal if there's millions of traders? It's not a bad thing. It's not not a good thing, it's just nothing. But yeah, the concern is the law, if they begin to crack down on things because of people who are a little bit salty about losing cash. Obviously cash they couldn't afford to lose, so it's frustrating, but you need to be aware of the risk involved as a trader. Read buying gold scalping 4014. Nice one. Pepper nickel 91 in general. Again, I can't give you a TP because there's no entry. I don't know where I'm getting an entry from at the minute. Just the price taps into this level doesn't mean I just sell it automatically. I need a confirmation. That confirmation may come still below this point here. It may not come at all. I don't know until it presents. Same thing last Thursday. It was intuition, the trade last Thursday, based off pure price action. Once I know the entry, I'll know a target. Or what I aim for just depends. It really depends on the trade itself and what sort of traffic I have to the left. Generally speaking, I'll try to keep a runner to the next level of support or resistance, but I like to secure some profit in between. Just now, it's true, yeah, about the potential issues with us retail traders. Sim trading, whenever it be saturated, retail accounts for like, yeah, I don't know, accounts for nothing. We're just a small fry. We really are. Nickel, all good. Sebastian, can you look at Naz again? Looks good right now. Yeah, technically it's really good. I mean, this would be a confirmation for me on gold. I just would not trade Naz at this time of day. I personally would not touch it. But technically speaking, it's a cracking entry. You've got closure below. Not sure how this candle formed. If it popped up down first, then popped back up to create this upper wick, I have no idea. If that's the case, I would be looking to sell at this break zone low. I think sells below current candles low look really good. But once again, I would not touch it this time of day. And the same one as always, my friend. But don't be fooled, don't be put off. There is nothing they've done wrong. They do disclose the risk involved when trading CFDs. There is obviously risk. You can lose your money. Michael Jackson, yes, I do, but I don't. I do because I do actually like the way the price moves during Asian session. I do think it gives you some really nice options, but I like to do my own thing of a day as well. And today I wasn't near the charts. I had other commitments this morning, my time. But I do like the Asian session. A lot of people say it's no volume. Bullshit. Got more volume in London for the most part when it comes to gold. Red buys 30 pips, looking for sells at 40.26. Happy for you, mate. And how about, yeah, it's just people who have obviously not understood the risk when trading. Probably put in a little bit too much and can afford to lose that cash. Mr. Phil, how are you? All good? Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Same old, same old. How's the training going?
Nice to have you back.
Thank you, you too.
It's been a while.
You bet, yeah, been busy, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
What What are you looking at? Anything? Sorry, mate.
I was looking at some stuff on EU, but for now no confirmation, so I'm just watching.
Yeah, are you waiting for the 1 hour or?
Yeah, it's kind of on the 1 hour. It's kind of really prime for the move down if you look at it from the daily down.
Yeah, and the weekly. Yeah. Yeah, I do much prefer to sell option. The hourly does look a lot cleaner as well.
It's breakout of kind. Yeah. So the 4 hours is bearish. The hourly as well. So
Yeah, structure is bearish across the board basically. Yeah, I would also be looking for sells. Nice
we're
one.
just waiting now to see the confirmation.
Yep, and that's exactly what I'm doing with gold. Look at that once again, guys, respecting this support. So why we need to be patient. That's still respecting that level. Weak bullish closure below would be also a really strong confirmation for potential continued downside if it begins to break the low on the following candle. Hima, thank you for sharing a life. Fareed, I'm happy for you, mate.
How was the last month for you?
Sorry, mate. Say again.
How was the last month?
Last month, I didn't trade much, mate. I missed pretty much the first 10 days, I think it was. Also took a couple days in between where I just didn't have time for the charts. But it ended up in a profit, more basically off the back of last week. Last week was a cracking week on just 2 trades. But yeah, very quiet because I wasn't on charts. How about yourself? Same thing or?
Yeah, I haven't really been on the chart since when I think the last month that I really traded was August. September and October was kind of like just on and off for me, but the few times that I traded, I got wrecked.
Yeah, happens.
Yeah, it wasn't. September and October was a nice month for me, really.
Nice one.
The few times that I tried to trade, like. But anyway, it was my fault anyways. I don't know why I got wrecked, so I was a little reckless.
Yeah, maybe lack of time.
So sometimes I'll get into the trade without really seeing the full picture. Then just for you to notice after entering the trade, then you look at it like that was dumb.
Yeah, done that before. It happens.
So yeah. So
anyway, new month.
If you see my trading history for September and August, it's full-blooded.
All good, mate. It's a new month, so let's have a go on this month. Yeah, I'm sure if you got more time, you'd be go on to it.
At least things have settled now on my side as well. At least I'm a little bit more settled now. So.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. Yeah. It's been an issue with me of late. I've been under the pump with many things, so hard pressed to find quality, consistent time. But yeah, we'll see how this month goes. All right, gold says close strong bullish back at support. So we're still above the support, but there is no buy option for me. We're right at the 4-hour resistance, so let's just see. And let's be patient. 30 minutes until session open here, guys. We're looking for sells at 40, 37, 46. Fair enough, fair enough. I wish you luck. Just give me 2 seconds, guys. Be really quick. Alright, as far as schedule for the streams this week, guys, it should be pretty good for tomorrow. Wednesday's a bit up in the air. Should be okay, but I can't guarantee. And Thursday will be okay. But obviously Friday will not be on a stream. But otherwise, a bit more time for the charts this week, hopefully. And to my team, I should be okay for a call later. Let's see what the time is, though. King of Forex, goodbye to you. Complete bottom feeding scum. That's all they are. People come onto someone else's stream, promoting themselves. Did purchase some more silver over the weekend. Is my #1 holding when it comes to a long-term picture. Again, not talking about the paper stuff, not talking about trading it, talking about the physical bullion coins as well, so on and so forth. King, Bonner, I don't accept requests to join the stream. There's only ones who can join the stream, the background of my team. Other than Reed, anyone else currently running any trades, let us know if you are. Just had the high impact Swiss news, see what was made of that. Okay, so it came out CPI less than expected, negative 0.3. Let's have a look at Swiss franc just quickly. Gapped to the downside. Wow, look at this. What's with all the gaps? Oh, sorry. It's USD CHF, isn't it? I've not traded this for God knows how long, since swing trading. This gap to the upside. Samuel. Okay, JPY buys. Okay, let me quick look at that. Okay, hopefully you're in from somewhere lower down, because you could have a decent confirmation for a sell in 7 and a bit minutes. That's without doing a proper top down. Obviously weekly being bullish, daily's tapped into a zone of liquidity and rejected, bounced off it. 4 hour bullish, but bit of a mess as well. Yeah, it does look like it could potentially pull back, but the actual bias appears to be bullish. Yeah, I'd potentially be looking for buys from 109, 1010 flat roughly, or a bit lower down from the Asian range low roughly. All right, it's gold going to tap into the high point of the resistance. Let's see. Now, okay, so this is where we can begin to plan for any potential option, guys. And what I could look for, this is once again a very impulsive entry. But if we pop straight up at the open at London, then it's a matter of where could we potentially pop up into and look for a potential impulse sell in anticipation that we could at some point, we're likely going to reject this level. It doesn't mean it's going to remain below it, but at some point we're likely going to get some sort of rejection, enough to get us to break even, enough to be able to secure some decent profit. And at that point once we get to break even, it can do what it wants and we're not too bothered. I could push through, it's all right, we've secured some profit. So what I want to see is this candle closing strong, right up near the high. No upper wick would be fantastic. No upper wick, pop straight up. It taps into, I would probably choose that bearish candle. That would be my potential entry point, as it taps into it. Now this is again, it's from just years of experience. This is actually in my little playbook. The other issue, the other potential entry point is usually 50% of the 4 hour zone, but that's a big area. So that you're looking at, that's almost the high of that bullish wick. That's very far off. It's going to push some 100 plus pips roughly at the open if that was to be the case. So let's just see, but we want this candle to close close to the resistance. We want it to close up near its high. We want the new candle to open straight up, straight to push straight to the upside. Now stop loss in this situation is generally above the swing point, but that is also very wide stop loss. That is going to be the main concern. 60. All right, so probably have to be that bearish candle, be about 60, just over 60 pips. All right, so there's a lot of water that's going to bridge first before it's actually valid. But that's something we could be looking at. It could be just an impulse entry, guys. I will keep you as up to date as I possibly can. I'll let you know as soon as I'm going to enter. And it's likely going to be market execution if there is to be a trade. Not guaranteeing there is one, but that's what I'm currently looking at. That's the only potential option for me at actual London Open. So stop, roughly speaking, would be $1,029. That's not right. What is it on here? 32, so you want it above that bearish candle, but let's see anyway. Michael Jackson full port, no stop loss. Good luck with that. What indicators do I use, Samuel? This is just the Asian session range, so adjusted to my preference. So the open of Tokyo until EU open. What I often find is price tends to tap into those levels. Actually, hold on, this is out of whack because this should have been closed at this point, or this point. Generally speaking, what I see happen is, and we've literally done it, we've broken the Asian high on this candle. I know it's technically still open, but the levels that I'm concerned about, so the times I'm concerned about, which is the closure, that would have been here. So the highest point would have been there. We've broken it, pushed back below it. So happen to be well at support. So now we are potentially breaking back above it, which would normally suggest there's potential for it to continue bullish. However, again, I don't like the level it's at. Look for potential buys from. I'm not going to necessarily buy it. But that's it. It's just the Asian range high. The other one I do occasionally have on screen, but I've not put it back up since I accidentally delete it, is the power 3, and that's just the daily candle printing. Just shows you how the daily is printing, so I don't have to flick to the daily, see where we are within it or against the previous candle. But they're not indicators that give me my signal to enter as such. That is pure price action. That is the candles themselves. Free potential breakout for London Opens, maybe. So I believe that the US is daylight savings now for a bunch. Oh yeah, okay, that could be correct. That is probably right. That's probably why this thing might be playing up a little bit too. But thanks for that, mate. Wasn't aware. But yeah, you are right. I think it's always last weekend of October. All right, so let's see what happens at the open here, guys. Are we gonna pop straight up? And if so, I'll let you know as soon as I'm taking an entry. Very, very impulsive this would be though. This is extremely high risk, this entry. If I had to rate my entries, this one would be literally, I would say, the highest risk of all. Because we are approaching pretty strong bullish. It's more so based off the level, and more so based off the fact that if it pops straight up, it's likely going to pull back to create a lower wick. By that point, I can be safely at break even and probably secure some profit. So let's just see. We want it to pop straight up, and I'll let you know right away, guys, as soon as I'm going to take an entry, if I do. Now, if it pops down first, forget about it. It has to pop straight up into that level, or even, I will see, around that level that I've marked in. All right, session open. No, it's 15 minutes. What am I did this last week. I'm out of whack myself. Not session open, guys. We've got 15 minutes until session open. All right. Take 2. Let's see what happens in 15 minutes. Apologies, guys. Do you not know that there were no candles for a while? I was open. Oh, because of that change in time. Pepper nickel, you're looking for an entry to buy or sell. Potentially sell, to be honest, from purely because the level we're at for our resistance. I don't necessarily want to buy into it. Doesn't mean I can't push through it, but I just don't like the level we're at. I'd rather look for opportunities to take a sell from that level. But yeah, if that was the London Open candle, it would have been invalid either way, because it popped down first. MD the Architect, what's your upper resistance level that you have marked? Well, it's a 4-hour level, so I've just adjusted it based off of 15 a bit here, but technically speaking, it starts, I mean, we're currently at a bit of a level mentioned before, but the level higher up, 4,024.88 to be exact, or 68, sorry, to be exact, is where it starts. 4,024.68. So whatever that open of that candle is on your broker, that is where it starts. And what I normally do is have it connected to the highest point of any bearish candle, and then I go down the time frames and adjust it accordingly. So to me, I've adjusted it to just the most recent high of any bearish candle to the left, and that's what I'm using for the time being. But again, it's all subjective. This is just what works for me. But yeah, that's what it is. All good, mate. Pepper nickel, sell. Yeah, potentially sell. Just again, based off the level we're at, don't want to buy into the 4-hour resistance, so I'd rather look for opportunities to sell it. Let me quickly adjust this, so I'm assuming that will be now 2 AM. Yeah, that's an hour prior to EU Open. So we can see we broke it and closed back below it at EU Open, broke the Asian range high, and then it's closed back below and now popping back above. So again, normally what that would suggest to me is there's a high probability that we would continue bullish in the short term. But again, the level we're at suggests otherwise to me. So it doesn't mean it can't burst through it, but I'm not prepared to take that risk. Or I'll just wait and see how price reacts to it. I think it's a pretty good point, to be honest. I mean, it's got it there. But all good, no worries. Zach, good day to you. What's the go? So once again, looking for potential sell opportunities from the 4-hour resistance here on gold. We see a nice cluster interruption to the upside here as well. But potentially later on, is it limit order buy? Not my favorite of the interruption entries. I do prefer the continuation interruption entry as opposed to this one, but this one is also quite a solid entry. Zach, all good, mate. All good. All right, so we're popping up into that level now. Now let's see how price reacts to this resistance. Great, nice work. So all you can do is trade based on your analysis, so you know, well done to you. Not everyone sees the same things, we all trade differently. For me, there was no entry there, but not saying it wasn't a good entry. You bought it, you took it, it's good profit, so good work. Franco, how are you, mate?
Yeah, thank you. And you?
All good, mate. All good. What's going on?
Well, nothing. So I decided starting this month to skip for one month GU and EU and focusing more on gold.
Okay,
Want to give it a try.
fair enough.
More on gold. Yeah, because I see. Yeah, it's a kind of annoying right now. On the EU and GU.
EU and GU.
Yeah, and I will give a try to gold.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being more focused on one particular pair, especially gold.
Yeah, you know, because I was a little bit scared about gold moving too fast.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, there are a lot more opportunities what I've seen last time on gold as for GU and EU. And
Yeah.
wanted to look yeah, how I'm getting familiar with this pair and so on and so on. So, yeah, and therefore I'm looking also for some cells on this area right now.
Yeah.
I think it makes absolutely sense. This it's a very strong useful area, and maybe it's bouncing right now. I've marked also some other M30 areas in between.
I mean, you could even adjust that a little bit higher now. There's multiple levels here.
Yeah, I leave this, Justin, complete this A4 and put in some M30.
Yeah.
Resistance zone.
Yeah, to me, this is all 4-hour level. You could have the multiple levels or...
Correct. Looks a little bit less, but for me, I'm looking maybe, yeah, could be a rejection on this resistance there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens for the open. It could be the impulse entries could present. I mean, if this closes back right near its low, closes weak, bearish right near its low, and a new candle opens up for an upper wick, and we could have a similar entry to Thursday, but in the opposite direction. We'll see. We've got 5 minutes remaining until session open. But it is so far struggling at the 4-hour level. Oh, whoops. Or if it closes even a doji or very, very weak bullish and opens straight bullish and begins to break low this candle, once again, good chance we're going to pop back down to the Asian range high. At that point, probably gets to break even. Won't be that much profit on the table, but you have the risk off the table. I mean, we'll see. There's still anything could happen in 4 minutes, guys. If this closes strong bullish, there's not really going to be an opportunity, in my opinion. A little bit of an interruption on the 5 there. Let's see if we get that little price action catalyst or signal, sorry, again at session open as we did on Thursday. Alright, so we want this to start to reject. Well, I want it to anyway. All the way around. Alright, so we can do similar to what we did now on Thursday. It doesn't look as probable though, doesn't look likely to happen, to be honest. But if it closes below 0.382, it can close bearish. I'm not that bothered because the fact is at a level of resistance. But once it's closed below at horizontal, and that would suggest it's a very weak closure with, again, at a level of liquidity on the 4 hour. As long as the new candle pops straight up and then begins to break the low of the catalyst candle, the one that closes weak below the 0.382, I would look for an entry. But it looks less likely at the minute. That being said, Thursdays look pretty much the same at this point, but it eventually did move in the direction we wanted to in the last minute, and we had the valid entry. We made the most of it. So let's just see. In 1 minute, I wanted to close below this horizontal. If that is to be the case, once again, the next thing I need to see is the following candle open straight bullish. As it begins to break low of that candle, that is where entry will be taken on impulse. So let's just see. It's unlikely it's going to happen, but that's my plan if it does eventuate. To the upside, I can see it. Your entry is going to be lower wick, enter as it breaks the high of this catalyst candle. But I'm just not so keen on buying into this 4 hour resistance. I feel like I've kind of missed the move. Alright, so it's not going to be valid to the downside, guys. 10 seconds. Yeah, it's not going to be valid. Alright, so let's just remove that. So if you are interested in the upside, lower wick, as it begins to break the high, that's your entry. Stop loss below low. It's popped straight up, so I would not, even irrespective, I would not bid in this trade. No lower wick. What I'd be waiting for now is lower wick to form, and then buy stop the high. That's your option. That's the case, and it begins to, and you get triggered in. There's no need to break its own low again. You could really be aggressive with stop loss management and place stop loss below it. Once again, without that lower wick, to me, it would definitely not be an entry. Just pop straight up. That's it. Is what it is. Be red. As it buys for gold. Long-term perspective, extremely bullish. Here we go. So it's potentially creating a lower wick now. Trade wise, short-term trade wise, more to the downside. Time frame, for the most part, 15. Vasu, reject to fill the gap at 4,001. I don't know what gap you're talking about. I don't see it as a gap, but it could possibly reject. We'll see. Still not really created a low wick. There is a small one on my broker's chart that was from the open. Now it looks like it's doing it. Yep, so it's created a low wick. What did on my broker's chart? Definitely saw it flip. Not so on this particular broker. And you may ask why I don't use my broker's chart here on TradingView, because it's out of sync. I have no idea why, but it's 2 minutes out of sync. So going to this, it's just opening in London now. So that's the reason why I don't use it. Should actually query him about it. Graphic lineup accounts. You have to wait for low wick first. Yes, it's a preference of mine prior to any entry, or if I'm looking for a buy anyway. There is a circumstance where it's not necessary, but I still would prefer it. But yeah, if that eventuates, I'll let you guys know at the time, but it's not happening at the minute, so there's no need. Alright, so still the first few minutes of London Open. Price a little bit indecisive at the minute. It's trying to break the upside. Looks pretty good if it does break its own high again. But again, for me, there is no confirmation at current level. I'm just going to patiently wait and see how price reacts to it. Ink up? No idea. I can't give you a time. As I've mentioned nearly every stream, I don't have a crystal ball. I just know when I have the right confirmation. And I'll let you guys know as soon as I do. And that requires waiting for that to happen. That requires waiting for candles to close as well. So at the minute, I don't know. Sometimes it happens on stream, sometimes it happens away from the stream, sometimes because I'm not on the charts for much of a day, generally speaking just a couple hours. A lot of time will happen when I'm not on the charts and there's not much you can do about it. Definitely did flip back bearish on my broker's chart. 100% it did. Not done so on this one though. Graphic lineup accounts. It's not given I'll take a trade of a day. So again, I only trade for a couple hours, and I'm very patient, extremely disciplined, and it's why I've got the win rate at 80%. Do it all live on stream, so some days it could be 2, could be multiple days without a trade. For most parts it's 1. Right now I'm a little bit restrictive with time, so I don't have all that much time to sit and wait on the charts. So is what it is. Let's have a look, quickly have a look at some of the other pairs at session open. So, okay, GJ, it's similar to gold, but it's actually pulling back further. It did break the Asian range high, means to pull back within it. That to me would have been your catalyst. That candle just there for a potential sell. Now, GJ, the options will be to wait for it to pull back and perhaps form support. GU. You want to see a clean break of this support, pull back, form some resistance. It's very bearish, so I personally would avoid buying it today. You don't really have any confirmation. You've got real strong momentum to the downside. Yeah, I'd stick to the sell bias. Same on EU, and it is currently rejecting that level once again that I marked in. For nickel, I noticed it been coming on stream now later. Yeah, because the times have changed, my friend. Session open times have changed, so we're creating that lower wick. So there you go, guys. That's why I never take the trade, or wouldn't 99% of the time take trade prior to it having a wick in the opposite direction. Yeah, it's the time changes, mate. So obviously, daylight savings now here in Eastern Australia, Southeast Australia, plus clocks have wound back over in the UK and US, so everything's changed. So London Open is now 7 p.m. It used to be 5 p.m. before. For a week or two, it was 6 p.m. and now it's well, for about 3 weeks, 2 weeks. Now it's at 7 p.m. So that's hence the reason. To my Cypher, thank you for sharing the live. So it is rejecting, guys, at the minute. This is now where I can perhaps go down to the 5 minute and see also what's going on. And let's see if we have some minor support form. And close back bearish on the 15. And what potential option off the back of that we may have. Look for sells, if any. Graphic lineup accounts, if it forms the main resistance, can we look for a sell? Potentially. Just have to wait and see, my friend. Alright guys, I'll be back in 1 minute. Got rain? Yes. Possible. Not confirmed though. So what would have been great, but again, doesn't likely to happen, is this candle close. So what this is, I'll just some quick education, guys, while we wait. This candle closed, for instance, strong. That point, the 15 minutes going to be looking like so. So it's forming pretty strong bearish at that point. Let's go back to the 5. So it hasn't done so, but anyway, just education purposes. Let's I'll explain. There's this point to this. Following candle closed, very weak bullish, and let's just say I left decent upper wick. Okay, that's going to be a low for 15. 15 in itself is going to close looking like this. No, that's the open, sorry. This is the open. Leaving long rejection wick. Within it, we've formed support in the 5-minute time frame. We know we're at a level here on the 4-hour where price could potentially reject. Seen it tap into it and reject multiple times so far. So with that confirmation, got the 15-minute closing bearish, got the 5-minute minus support. So long as the new candle opens up, creates a little bit of an upper wick, it begins to break low of the 15-minute, there is a high probability at that point there that will come back down and retest the most recent support on the 15-minute time frame, which for me is, again, still this level here around that 4,014 sort of region. So if that was to present, that could have been a potential entry, but obviously it's not going to happen because we didn't have the right confirmation on that previous 5-minute candle. But again, it's just me looking at potential opportunities based off experience, what I like to see happen. I know is of higher probability, and just let's just say just selling it because it's at a level without any confirmation. John Silver will go up for another few hours. That's what London do. See, Max. That's it. Full margin. The house. If you have a wife and kids, the wife and kids. My wifey here. Just lonely old me. Looking at the computer screen, waiting for a candle to give me some sort of signal. Alright, so the other catalyst within this would be 15-minute bearish engulfing. That's simply it. That's not going to happen. So the way we're forming at the minute, I don't have 5-minute support. I don't have anything necessarily to break to the downside. So my concern could be, or would be, that we could just create a swing low, but a higher low in order to push back up. So I need that minus support to form. But again, it could all come down to the candle itself. If it pops straight up, and if we close like so, it does suggest exhaustion and rejection. So if the new candle pops straight up without a low wick, I could potentially look for an impulse entry as it breaks low of the catalyst candle, this candle, the rejection candle. So we need to consider a few things here. What the lowest point of this candle is, because that is where the entry will be, and that could shift in the next minute. Would create a lower low, and we need to ensure the following candle just pops straight up without a low wick. If it pops straight up and begins to break low at a 4-hour level of resistance, I do believe there could be an opportunity to get involved. I would get to break even quite quickly, but the target would be this support at 4,014. I would secure in between. So that could be a potential option, guys. So let's keep an eye on the low of this candle on your broker's chart. I suggest it is now creating a lower low on my chart, and it needs to leave a lower wick. If it closes without a low wick, no entry. That's another rule of mine. Is what often follows is the new candle will pop down a little bit, then pop straight up, and we end up closing back bullish. Not always, but happens quite often. All right, so I'm tracking a low on my chart. 420.94. I was using the actual hardware. It's popped straight down. Forget it. On the total opposite, it's just popped straight down, guys. Broken a low on my broker's charts. Definitely broken a low. Got no upper wick, so there's no entry. The other thing you could consider, based simply off price action, if it creates an upper wick, breaks on low again, that could be a potential entry. But this thing can't really push much further to the downside, because then it's just not going to be worth it. You're not going to have the margin. Don, you waiting? No trades now? Yeah, at the moment, it's a good idea. Doesn't look like there will be a trade at the minute because we are dropping. All right, so the area is correct. And sometimes this is the case, guys. The plan could be correct, but it doesn't tick the box. The rules aren't ticked off. And rules are extremely, extremely important, especially when it comes to my trading. Discipline is number one. Discipline and patience. Because if I just had taken that without it creating the upper wick first, and it did this and popped straight back up, I would be so pissed off at myself and I'd be stuck in drawdown. I wouldn't be feeling good about it. I'd probably close the trade and I would kick myself thinking, why don't I just wait for it to tick the box? Because I do know, look at it now, that if I was to wait patiently, it may not happen all the time. It may not happen every day, but when I do wait patiently, there's an 8% chance it's going to be a winning trade. So look at it now. It's popped straight back up. Let's measure the margin to the downside here. About 40 odd pips. Let's measure what the stop loss would be. Similar. I don't think it's worth it, to be honest. You got about 1-to-1 max. It makes more sense now though. If it breaks its own low, it definitely makes more sense. Because once again, we'll be rejecting the resistance here on the 4-hour. Also, obviously, a level on the 15-minute time frame. But again, look at that. So perfect. Really happy I didn't jump in on that because I'd be getting wrecked right now. There you go. It's not always about learning, you know, how to be, well, it is about learning how to be profitable. It's not always about taking trades. It's also about education and managing risk and sparing your equity. Not getting involved when you probably shouldn't be involved in a trade. So patience and discipline has prevented me from getting wrecked here. That's so important. Itchy nose. Man Vic. Hey, just a long time. How are you, mate? With all the update of YouTube, I to be honest, not too sure who you are because it's got your handle now as opposed to your profile name. Thank you nonetheless, and welcome. Yeah, so it's rejecting now, but again, stop loss, what is it? More probable. Again, if it breaks, stop loss would be, including spread, about 48 pips. Target. Let's take off 2 pips, pretty much 1-to-1. You got basically a 1-to-1, guys. Early Gutro. Would you enter if breaks below 4,019? Well, that's your potential entry point, but again, I don't feel you've got the margin, so you'd have to be in. You'd be definitely in. But again, it makes more sense to make the move now, in my opinion, because now it's pulled back, it's rejecting for the second time. Got that upper wick, perhaps it's grabbed that needed liquidity in order to make the move back down. But again, I don't feel it's worth the risk on this trade. So for me, there is no entry. Again, it makes more sense the second time around, but personally, I'm not happy enough with it. Mainly because we pushed a little bit too far on the move to the downside prior to pulling back up. That's the main reason. Next, first time watching, also bearish. Nice one, mate. What could present moving forward though is this pattern where we do actually form some support, pull back, create either equal high or lower high, break below the support, close below it, pop back up, retest, and begin to pull away from it. Let me keep that back up there. It'd be nice to see it make the move, irrespective. What that will also do is get us back to a potential level, a zone where we could also plan. Well, we won't be on the stream though, but we can start looking for opportunities from that support for 4014. Even to the upside would be okay if it makes a clean move down now, because it would be respecting the most recent support formed within the current daily, which is forming bullish. On the minor time frame here, we'll be respecting most recent support, so that becomes a potential upside option. Next, the price of my person. Yep, same as me. Yeah, similar idea. Michael Jackson, where would you have put TP if you entered? On a sell, well, I'd be 4,015. 50 would be target 1. 4,014 would be target 2, and I'd just leave a run in case it bursts through. But wow, would have been a nice trade. So I'd definitely be a break even. If anyone's in it, I'd be a break even. So not in this one, as opposed to last stream, where obviously called it and took it, but once again called it almost to perfection. Again, guys, I'll make this shit up. It's just all from experience, time on the charts. That's why I say, pay attention. You learn. Graph lineup, as I mentioned, 4,015, 50 roughly, and then 4,014. But I would have been a break even. Probably would have secured something. You probably had about 20 plus pips. Considering it's a very narrow range, it's a really small, it's not even really a range, it's just consolidation. So I wouldn't be greedy, because we could reject, respect, and pop back up at any point. Once again, the daily is forming pretty strong bullish at the minute. We could just be pulling back within the candle. But that's just me personally. But now it's dropping. Good call though. Yeah, really good call. If anyone took it, well done. All right, team. Well, that's the current move. So there's not much going to happen for a little while yet. So now, to me, it'd be all about how price reacts to 4,014, 4,012. If it begins to pop below 4,010, it could be opportunities to take a sell. What I prefer to see prior to it is if we're coming from the daily high, I'd rather it trigger in some buyers, close back a bullish candle, trap the buyers, close below, and that could be your opportunity to take a sell off the back of that. Otherwise, again, make a clean move down. Let's see how price reacts to 4,014, 4,012, and if you get some sort of confirmation of buy it back up, I would trust the buyers more from the current level now. Because within the 4-hour resistance, we create a clean move up on a 15, clean move down. We do form the right confirmation at support. I believe it'd be a good option to buy it as well. Perfect call though, but again, not in this one. All good. That's what I'd be looking at moving forward on the gold, guys. So on that note, I think it's time for me to go make myself some dinner. Appreciate you all for joining my team. I'll see how we go for later. We'll see what time I'll get everything done, but I'll try and jump on a call for a bit with you guys in maybe an hour or so from now. But wow, look at that. Wow, absolute perfect. Okay, mate. Yeah, you too. Catch you later. YouTube, TikTok, appreciate the support yet again. beyond tomorrow. Really high probability, seeing we talk about probabilities on this stream, that will be on. So let's be patient moving forward today, guys. I hope you have a good trading day, good day in general. Do trade safe if you are to continue trading, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow around the same time as today. Until then, have a good one, guys. Thank you, and bye for now. Cheers. Bye, guys.